A word to the wise. Do not, under any circumstances, loan your equipment out. It'll cost you time and money. This spreader, brand new a year ago. I've used it twice. I lent it out once. I go to use it 3 times. PTO shaft's bent. Not only did I not know that, sat in the shop for 3 months, bent. I bring it out here to the field, ready to rock and roll, and puts the train off the track. Friend, foe, brother, sister, whatever. Don't loan your equipment out, because it'll never come back the way you lent it out. And I don't know whether it was an accident or whatever, other than I know I should have never lent it out. You know, if you're going to lend it out, lend yourself and your equipment out, go do the job for it. But don't lend your equipment out to anyone. It'll cost you time and money, and in this day and age, time and money can cost you a crop. So here's the field. It's not a big field. We're going to plant turnips in here. We're going to get it plowed up and get it seeded here the next week or so, by the 15th of August. So sit back and hopefully we'll grow something. It's been a hell of a drought down here. Sort of crucial to get this dirt plowed up to loosen that soil, because when you're planting those turnips, that's a pretty good turnip, a pretty good volume of plant in size, and it needs to grow in pretty soft dirt, so it's pretty fundamental to get it plowed. That's plowing pretty good. It's still awful dry, but it's crucial when you plant turnips to turn that ground over, to get it deep enough in a deep enough seed bed so that turnip can expand. Because it's going to grow about as big as your fist, and it needs to be able to push that dirt out, and it can't do that in a hard pan. Well, we got that little field plowed up. That's probably half acre, you know, at the most. So now I gotta go maintain the spreader so I can put the lime on the other stuff. Okay, for you guys that are planting food plots, this is where you fall if you don't do this step. This is pal lime. Doesn't cost all that much, but some places you can't get that ag lime back into. You've got to put this lime on. Basically, your dirt has been in hibernation for a long time. So when you put the lime on, it brings the pH up. That brings the phosphorus, the nitrogen, and all the other minerals that are in there. Potash, whatever, it brings it up online. It gets it agitated and gets it working again. Grass don't use all that. Grass can grow where grass grows. But to get a crop growing, you've got to get your dirt basically out of hibernation. And that's what lime does. If you don't put lime on it, chances are your seed won't grow. It'll be undernourished, because it won't be drawing the minerals that it's needed out of the ground. So if you're putting high dollar seed on it and you're not putting lime on it prior to that, you're actually wasting your money on the seed, because you're going to only get about 50% of what you should be getting out of that seed. Lime is number one. Pal lime's back in these little areas. You can get it. It's more aggressive than the actual ag lime. It costs a little more, but yet it's pretty hard to get it back into some remote areas. So lime, number one. These are some of the things that your ground needs: nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, calcium, magnesium, iron, magnesium. All this stuff needs to be brought to life. It's laying out there, but that's what the lime does. It gets it activated again. And you can see on the front of this package, but it does it, how it does it is through proper soil pH. That's a must if you're going to bring some of this timber out of hibernation. If you don't do that, you're just wasting your time. Well, here we are. You remember this spring we cleared this area off, and it's got rid of the canopy, and so we're going to put some lime in it and try to bring it along and get a good a hunting plot here. This is not going to be a destination plot, but hopefully it may be a hunting plot. Like 200 pounds on this area in here. That's pretty heavy. But hopefully that'll raise it up. Well, we're going to plow this up now. I'll have to go pretty slow because there's a lot of tree roots in there. I got a lot of them out, but there's still a lot of them in there. So let's turn some ground. This ground's never been turned before, and probably in the history of mankind. So I'll have to go pretty slow. This plow is pretty hard, a lot of tree roots in it. The ground's never had a plow to it. So, get it plowed up, get it disced up, get it fertilized, and get something growing on it. That's one of the Achilles heels of plowing new ground. A lot of tree roots in it. I got to kick those roots out of there. Got the plow plug. Used to do that when I was a kid. They'd plug up with corn stalks. But in this virgin timber type area, there's a lot of roots in that ground, so be prepared for that. Well, it plowed up fairly good, except for it takes several passes to get all those roots out. There's really a heck of a lot of root system in there that it'll take a few years for them to rot out and trying to pull some of them out. But I'll level it up with a box scraper and pull some more out and then disc it up real good. But virgin soil. Well, we got some more back in here plowed up. This plot up here plowed up really nice. This will be the second year for this plot. And dirt was real mellow and really turned up really nice. Very few roots in it. And you know, you're going to have that root problem on new ground because it's got a heck of a root system in there, in that wood, so it's going to take a year or two for it to get worked out of there. But as you work on it, you'll get them, and you can see that one's pretty clean. Very few roots, if any at all. Now these look pretty abstract right now, pretty rough. But when I get in here and clean them up again, I got the good 8 inches turned over, which is got the lime work down in there where it belongs. And I can put a finisher on top and get it smoothed out and leveled up. And probably try to get it seeded on Saturday at least. Yeah, I read an article in the paper, on Sunday paper, about a professional hunter talking about food plots. I doubt if he's ever planted one. He didn't even have the equipment to do one, but he can talk the talk. But there's a lot of work into a food plot. It's more than just running to a big box store or local archery shop, grabbing something off the shelf and running out and throwing it on the ground and think, voila. It don't work that way. Anyhow, in Don Mealey's world, it doesn't work that way. This is a small one back in here, secluded. You never know, whether you don't know whether it's worth the time or. But then again, food is where you find it if you're an animal. Bottom line, you want to have your plots worked up. You don't have to plant them, but if you get them worked up right to the edge where you can run in and put some fertilizer in there and incorporate it and get the seed on just prior to a rain, you're really going to have good success. You don't have to, just have it ready to where you don't have to do 2 days work with only a few hours to get it in. So try to do it in advance, the heavy work, and then the planting will come in pretty quick. And it'll be a real nice seed bed. Beans look pretty good. That rain couldn't have come at a more opportune time. We got a lot of beans growing on there. They got beans in them. Considering with the drought and stuff, did pretty damn good for that bean crop. It went through hell. Well, here we are, August 11th. We're going to plant some food plots today. We got some moisture down here, got some rain in the dirt. It's not quite as dry. The beans look fabulous. They got a lot of beans on there. August, State Fair time, food plot time. We're going to go out. We got to do a little ground preparation. Got to get some tree roots out of this one food plot. We get that done. We'll get the disc in it, putting the fertilizer in, putting the seed on it, and cultivating it. It's about 8 o'clock Saturday morning. Time to get it on. So make sure you prepare your ground. I met a couple guys at the come and go this morning. It's really fun to talk to them about food plots. It's a whole different phenomena going on out there. They were very unknowledgeable about what they were doing, but eager to learn. And I hope they have high success in their food plot. Like I told them, it's experimental. You learn by your errors, and then they'll move on into the future. They're young, so they got a lot of food plots in the making. Let's get ours started, and I'll take you through it. Yeah, what we're doing here is we're getting those roots out of there, so when we plant it, we don't have that many roots in there. You could leave them in there and rot out, but since I got the machine, I can drag them out of there and get them out. You want to make these food plots look as less obtrusive as you can. You don't want to come up and look like you're hunting in a dump. So you got to keep it maintained and clean. It just gives it a more scenario of cleanliness and more professionalism by cleaning them up. You just don't want to look like a bomb header. Sometimes it comes down just getting your hands dirty. There's Debbie picking up roots. Try to get as many of these out of here as you can. It just makes it a better food plot. You're never going to get them all. They're going to rot out, but getting, your hands dirty, getting close to the soil, just that much better. Feel prouder about what you're doing. You got to watch the sun. That tree was hanging over, it's throwing a lot of shadow on there. You got to have sunlight to grow food plots. So you got to be in your woods so to see how much sun where it moves around. That's why we cut that tree down. It wasn't doing anything but casting shadows and shedding leaves. That's another thing you have when you plant food plots. Those leaves get in there. So little maintenance right there. I'll just push that out of the way. Okay, here's what big mistake where a lot of you guys make on food plots. It takes a lot of fertilizer. They don't advertise that on that bag. You buy this tall-tine tubers, that's pricey enough. But when you look on the back here, and it starts talking 400, you have 2 tons of lime and 400 pounds of 20-20-20. A lot of guys ain't going to buy 400 pounds to go with this 2-acre thing. That's a mistake. They think they're going to buy 1 bag. And some of them don't even buy it. But that's 2 tons of lime. Now that's ag lime. You can get less lime by putting pelletized lime on there. And pelletized lime will work real fast. Where the ag lime, it's a slow working lime, so it don't really work for quite a while. Anyhow, like I say, they recommend 400 pounds per acre. So you're going to have a lot of fertilizer, more than what you think you're going to have. And people just aren't up to the expenditures on food plots. They think they're going to go out, throw and grow. No, you better read the back of the paper of the package. That's where the food plots get expensive. So keep that in mind. You just can't take raw seed and throw it on ground. If you do, you're going to get basically no results or minimal results at the best. Lots of fertilizer. We got 13-13-13, triple 13. That's the common fertilizer here in Iowa. 20-20-20, you're going to have a hard time even finding that in Iowa. Nobody even puts that out in Iowa. That might be down where they grow the grass down south where they come up with the seed. But 13-13-13, triple 13 will get the job done also. So let's get it in the bag and let's get it on the field. Burning daylight. You guys that plant tall-tine tubers, wintergreens, any of that stuff like that, that's an annual. That takes a lot of nitrogen to make that stuff grow. It doesn't put no nitrogen back in there. So you want to load them fields up with nitrogen. But the biggest thing is, if you didn't have a soil test in the first place, you ain't even going to know which road to take. And most people will not, for the first year or two, will not do any soil testing at all. And it's not even that hard. You got all summer to do it. All you got to do is take the time, go out and get the dirt, send it off, take it to any farm ag store or farm co-op. They'll do it for around $7. Then you'll know what you're walking on. Most people are more interested in shooting the bull and standing in a pro shop, archery shop, shooting their bow and arrow, talking tall about what they know. But when it comes to food plots, if you don't know what you're talking about there, it'll show up. So put down the bow once in a while and get out your agronomist book and read that. Find out, you got to become, like I said, a bow hunter education. You can't be a one-dimensional bow hunter. You can't be a plain cheese pizza in life. And being a bow hunter, you have to be a combination pizza. You have to know what you're looking at, and you have to know a lot about crop rotation and crops. I would take a person like that as a far better hunter than some clown, and I'm calling them clowns, probably disrespectfully. They can shoot better than me, but that's irrelevant. If you don't have a target to shoot at in front of you, you're not going to kill nothing but time. Those people will not take the time to do anything and shoot their bow. Most of them can shoot better than they need to be shooting anyway. So get off the archery range, get out in your woods, and start doing some prepping for your food plot. And another thing, I heard a guy last week said he was putting tree stands up. How in the hell would you be putting tree stands up unless you're hunting the same spot that you've been hunting? The thing about tree stands, you don't put them up until you scout the area. That's going to tell you what the new crop rotation is going to bring you. So I don't know what people are doing putting tree stands up in August, but I guess there's a fellow on the radio talks that. He must be a hell of a hunter. He's hunting the same places that he's hunting for years then. Because there's no sign in the woods or anywhere, very little crop activity. And to be sitting on a bean field, watching that buck come out there, by the time October 1st rolls around, that pattern will all changed. So I don't know what people get off on talking about food plots or tree stands in the middle of August for. I don't know. You can put a tree stand up in Iowa, hunt it the same day, and kill the biggest buck in Clark County. How do I know that? I've done that. So, for you people that are out there hanging tree stands, you ought to be doing something else. One of the major things you ought to try to do is groom your entry trails. So you can take and go in there now and take a pair of clippers and cut a path in there and get you a path or two so you can get in and out of your tree stand a lot easier. Or into your area, not necessarily a tree stand. But as far as hanging a tree stand, that's way premature. In this cowboy's way of thinking. Alright, this field's been limed. Right when it rained, washed it down in there. Now you can see it's rough. We're going to disc it and fertilize it and then disc it. We're set up here ready to rock and roll. Deb's going to run the disc, and as you can see the fertilizer on the back of the other tractor. A lot of deer tracks already in this dirt. Let's get the job done. Speaking of food plots, remember I told you this earlier about getting out in your timber, forget the tree stands? Look at the acorns on this tree in a drought. Oh boy, I mean this tree is just loaded with acorns. That'd be white oaks. That's what you should be doing in your timbers right now, evaluating what food crops you got. You don't need to be hanging tree stands prematurely. Hell, you don't even know what the movement of the deer are going to be back and forth to the food sources. So Mother Nature, I don't know if these are going to make that many acorns or not, but they sure got a cluster on there. Whew. If they do, they're going to come on off the lake. We're going to just that fertilizer in. You don't want the fertilizer sitting on the same ground, on the same level as the seed. You want to incorporate it in there a little bit. That way it's down where the roots are. Not trying to fertilizer from the top down. You're trying to fertilize it from the bottom up. So we'll get this disced up. That'll incorporate that. The lime's been incorporated at a deeper depth. Plus it got washed in there. And this looks a little dry, but there's just the right amount of moisture in this ground right now. And it's supposed to rain tomorrow or tonight, Sunday. So timing is everything on a food plot. So let's get her done. A few years to understand your timber. Had to come in there and remember this spring when we cleared all this timber out of here. Look at the sunlight on that now. That's what you have to do. You have to plan ahead. You just don't run out one day and run to Bass Pro or some big box store or pro shop and buy your seed. That's not how it is. You've got to make it a plan well in advance. And as you can see the sun out there, that's going to make that stuff really pop. I got canopies, several trees. And try not to make your food plots in a round oval. This is sort of like a, I don't know, meandering white thing. This is a hunting plot. Here comes dead, full bore. Hired help. Good help comes hard to find. Anyhow, I come back next spring and knock these stumps out of here, but they didn't do nothing. But they were all over the top of the food plot. And you can still see out there, I got some shadow casted there. But as that sun moves on over, it will take those shadows out. You want to have at least 4 or 5 hours of sunlight on your food plots. So sometimes a chainsaw is your best weapon in your battle with food plots. Trying to get sunlight to them. And the farther you can cut them back, the less leaf residue you'll get on top of them also. You notice that's turning up real real nice. Got some moisture in it. Before it was too dry. So, yeah, the sun's out there pretty good. You notice it's really lit this up real well. And probably time to go to dinner. Alright, next step is going to be the finish. As you notice, it's got some ridges in it from the disking. This is a finishing tool, basically a glorified harrow. And we're going to run it on there and get this smooth, and then the next step we'll hand crank the seat on. By the way, this operation, you go fast. What you can see here now, we'll walk out. You see this is a nice uniform finish right here on this. And then all you got to do is walk over where the disc ran, and you can see how rough it is. So you want to have that smooth and packed down, but uniform. This is too heavy to seat on. If you try to put your seat on it, it's going to get buried too deep. You want this firmed up? I can just barely get my boot in there. This is the disc side, and you can see you can put your foot down quite a ways. All you want to do is have a nice finish on it. Like over here is the finish, over here is the disc. And this should be soft enough that when you step on it, it just leaves an imprint of your foot in there. That's as soft as you need, so that goes pretty fast. This operation might seem like it's not needed, but if you put that seat on that heavy of a disc without harrowing that down, that big, when that melts down in the rain, it'll put too much dirt on top of the seed and it will not germinate. If you had oats or something like that, rye, a big seed, it will work. But you have to get it knocked down to a uniform texture before you put that small seed on there. We're ready to start planting. Deb taking the pan over there. This is what the seed bed's supposed to look at like. It's all been plowed, disked, and harrowed. And that's really important to get that seed bed worked up. The better the seed bed, the better the harvest is going to be. One piece of tillage equipment's not going to get it. Same way when you're planting food plots. You want to plant a variety. We're going to go with tall tine tubers, no plow. That's no plow if you don't have a plow, but if you got a plow, it works even better. We got some winter bulbs and sugar beets, and some brewery stuff by Biologic. We got some Biologic, and we got some Whitetail Institute. Go with a variety. Just don't go to the store and buy one blend. If you do that, and that fails, your whole food plot system has failed. These back plots will be hunting plots. The front plot will be a destination plot. You probably won't hunt off the destination plot, but you know, hunting plots, if something comes by and it's not what you want, it's not going to get shot either. But no guarantees. But make sure you plant a variety and use a lot of different blends. Just don't go with one blend. Put it on with a hand cranker. The reason you hand crank it is so you can broadcast it more precise. This seed costs quite a bit of money. You're looking at almost $350 worth of seed in front of you. Food plots aren't cheap. If you're cheap, then you're probably better off to stay out of the food plot system because it's not cheap and if it's labor intense. Anyhow, this is a must. If you put it in the big spreader, you'll run out of seed in the first 10 feet. So gauge it this way, go over it one direction, long ways, then go sideways. That way you got optimum coverage. So without any more to do, let's get some seed in the ground. Finally. Gauge right there, you can set that. Well, it's 4:30. Takes about, we've been here since 8 at least, so that's almost 8 hours prepping this field. We're going to cultivating it in, then we've got to let Mother Nature do her thing. pH, do your field, your soil test, lime, fertilizer, and good quality seed, and a variety of good quality seeds. Don't get cheap. You get cheap, you're going to not have negative results. So I got to get this cultivated in. It's supposed to rain tonight. The next time you'll see this field, it should be green. That's it from the non-typical Norwalkian. Yeah, here we are on a tall tine tuber food plot, and you can see that green haze. That's germinated. That germinated in a week. It has had probably at the most half-inch rain, thereabouts. Last Saturday at this time we were working this field, and you can see we have germination on it now, and it's timing. I can't emphasize that enough. You want to plant right before it rains, get it in, get your crop done. I don't care who you make mad or whatever. If you want a successful food plot, you've got to get every rain that you possibly can in your favor in August. That's really essential. But as you can see, they're up. You can see those tall tine tubers right there in a week. That ground temperature is 75 degrees, and we get that moisture on there, and we have germination. Now if we can just get some more rain, they'll really take off. Yeah, what we're going to build here is a little fence, and that's going to tell us what kind of grazing pressure we got. We don't want too much. I mean, this will keep the deer fenced out of this little area. Doesn't take a whole lot of time to erect one of these. They just put up a little fence there, and that'll let us know what kind of grazing pressure we got. And there you go. That's all it's needed right there. As you can see that green haze, this was planted with no plow, and it's really taken off. I had no plow and some winter peas and sugar bulbs in there. So let's get a cage up on this and see how it goes. Keep in mind, this is a week later, exactly 7 days later, and you can see that green all over in there. That's all brand new growth. So that triple 13 fertilizer, your lime, everything comes into play. You have to go the extra mile on a food plot. There was nothing in here but dirt last week at this time, and it's just phenomenal what this has grown in. We get some more rain. So let's get another basket up here and monitor the grazing as this is going to occur. Yeah, there you go, another little cage to check the browsing, and you can see behind there, that's up a good, some of that stuff's probably an inch tall already in a week. So unbelievable germination rate on that. Just a few mild rains, and we're still in that drought, but we had ground moisture in it when we turned the ground. Right after we probably had a good inch and a half of rain, prior to the planting of this stuff, so that put some moisture back. It was still dry. I'm not saying it wasn't dry, but anyhow, you can see the growth all around this basket, and we'll keep check on that. This is to see how much browsing pressure it's getting hit, and being it's butt right up to the timber, it'll get hit quite a bit. But keep in mind, this area was here. I cleared this off this spring, and this was a good probably ½ acre that we picked up on food plot area over the spring. Okay, here was another food plot we cleared off this spring, planted last week. Did a lot of work on this one, eradicated a lot of roots out of it. Just and as you can see, it germinated. This was a spot with green patch was put in here, and I put several different mixes in here, and some of it's really going. So just in a week's time. Now, if we're blessed with a little more rain sometime, this will really show an improvement. So all you can do is wait on the weather. I probably should have put these baskets out prior to the germination, because now I have to walk on some of that new seedlings, and that's probably not the best thing to do. So when you're going to put a basket out, but I was crushed for time, so I only do so much in a day. But getting it up now, it's not going to be too bad, because like I say, it's just coming on, so it's going to give you a pretty good reading of how much usage these food plots are getting. As you can see, it's really greened up, holds a lot of moisture. And keep in mind, this is only 1 week from planting time. You notice those stumps, we cut some more trees out of here. That's really critical if you're going to have food plots in the bowels of your timber. You're going to have to get out of there and cut some trees down. They can't grow with shade. So, you know, I can come back next spring when the ground's soft and take those stumps out. It was just too hard this year, too dry. It's been hard on a machine to yank them out of there. Next spring, to-do list, pop the stumps. This year, they'll work all right. But phenomenal growth already, you know. The difference is, you see how green this is right here? Now, if this gets in onto the trail, you got growth going up this trail, but here you have the canopy, so it doesn't get the sunlight, and it's a little slower. You know, it's marginable whether this will go. This was planted, had some no-plow throwed on it, and, you know, where it's wet, holds moisture, that's one good thing. It helps to induce holding of the moisture, but it also blocks out the sunlight with the canopy. So you want to make sure you get rid of as much shade as you possibly can to induce that sunlight and rainfall as far as that goes. August is really important. I can't emphasize that. You've got to get your crop in or your plots planted prior to any rains that you receive in August. Any rain you lose in August is a sin. You should have had your plots planted as early as you can in August, because when it goes through that transition period, cooling down, heavy dews, you've got to take advantage of every bit of that. If you don't, you'll come up with a marginable food plot. Okay, this was planted with green patch biologic, and it's a different blend, so it's coming in. It just needs a little more time. For only a week, you know, that's the difference of raising the pH, getting your fertilizer, spending the money. You don't want to spend money? Don't plant food plots, because it costs money to grow. It just doesn't happen on its own. It's not a Johnny Appleseed scenario where you just randomly go out and throw seed out willy-nilly. It's not going to happen. All these plots have germinated. You know, it's not 100% germination yet, but a lot of them have. You know, they got green on them. compared to last week, it was just dirt. So, and that's with no more than a half-inch rain. So, now here's an example. This plot right here was planted on Monday. We planted those other ones on Saturday. This was planted on the following Monday. And as you can see, no germination. Now, that's not to say we probably had a 1/4 inch of rain on this plot. As you can see, it's been rained, the tracks are washed out, so it's received some rain, but it only got one of those 2 rains. I can see some turkey feathers out there. The turkeys have been out on there. There's a turkey feather in there, I think. And there's another one over in here. But as you can see, no germination has occurred. And that's only a 2-day difference in timing, 48 hours. So timing is critical on these food plots. So let's go ahead and put us up a basket here and just see what occurs on this plot. Well, we got a basket installed out there. I've seen some germination, but like I say, been a lot of turkey activity on this. So, you know, fall turkey season ain't that far away.